Yeah, I can see a screenshot on Twitter, but the other games that I can see in the list are Dead Island 2, Sniper Elite 4, Wuthering Waves, Power World. Then there's also RoboCop Rogue City. That's the other one. That's 2. And then yeah, so we didn't get frame generation announcement, which is a shame. Probably coming out soon. Well, I test the new game porting toolkit. I need to be integrated into crossover, I suppose. I'm not sure what, because it seems like the announcement for game porting toolkit 2 really involved the integration with Xcode and then the ability to port the Mac version of the game to iPhone, iPad, which I didn't realize was an issue in the first place. Yeah, so it's good to see Power World is coming out. I've been using ChatGPT 4.0, and that's incredible. And I'd love to see this integrated straight into the OS. Is there any way for the game porting toolkit to make it possible to play Valorant? Incredibly unlikely. Just because of its anti-cheat, I'm afraid. Well, Red Hood, anyone in my friend group that plays game on a Mac, yeah. That's good. Well, hopefully these games are going to be cross-platform, so games like Power World, multiplayer game, should be there. Yeah, Resident Evil. I'll put Resident Evil 2. Yeah, Resident Evil 2 is going to be coming out as well, but there's no specific announcement date. The new Call of Duties are never going to run on a Mac just due to its anti-cheat. I wonder if I can see my WhatsApp messages. That would be because I use WhatsApp way more than messages. It's never going to come out. And any of these iPhone, iPad, Mac versions of games which have a cross progression between Apple ecosystem devices, then it's not going to happen. So if you want to play the Steam version, the Windows version, just play it for the game porting toolkit. Most of the Macs now can run Resident Evil 2 just fine using game porting toolkit. Did I notice that Craig mentioned how gaming enthusiasts are using GPTK? I don't know. I didn't see that. Maybe I'll just put my notes. Gaming. Enthusiasts using GPT. You can't sideload AC Mirage. Okay, thanks for letting me know, because I've been trying to do that for ages. It won't open. It really sucks that they've artificially stopped it from running on a Mac. Which okay, on device AI, that's cool. I trust Apple way more with security than I do Microsoft. There are specific enclaves on the chip to prevent personal data, biometric data from leaking out. I think this is really, the AI stuff is really exciting just in general. ChatGPT is amazing already. I really need to get a new MacBook. Red Hood, just got my master's in sports media. Yeah, even the M1 is going to be way better than your Intel 2017. Run cooler and faster as well. Yeah, don't trust Microsoft, Aaron Donnell. Do not trust Microsoft at all with my data. Yeah. Yeah, I hope Witcher 3 comes to the Mac. 1 and 2 are, I would say, disappointing Mac ports. They're more like native ARM wrappers for these x86 old games. Craig said that GPTK will have better Windows. I didn't catch that bit, so I'll have to come back. Will have better Windows. It's really, I think the important thing is that they're acknowledging that people, the gaming enthusiasts, are using it. I wonder if anyone's watched. I wonder if anyone apart from Nat has watched my videos in it from Apple. So I really hope that Crossover does release a Game Porting Toolkit 2 update. I don't actually know what Game Porting Toolkit 2 is. We haven't had a Game Porting Toolkit update for a really long time now. So it'd be interesting to see what that entails exactly. Rob Top Jara, when they announced the M5 with ray tracing cores. Yeah, so I have a video in the works about ray tracing on the Mac. There are no ray tracing games. So there are 2 games which are coming with actual release dates, which are going to have ray tracing. So we've got Mirage, Assassin's Creed Mirage, and we've got Control with ray tracing. We're supposed to get Riven and Mist, the remakes with ray tracing, but those haven't been released. Or Firmament, those don't have ray tracing features enabled yet on a Mac, so it's a bit disappointing. Nico, they're not bringing back Boot Camp. It's not happening. I'm going to make a video about why Boot Camp isn't coming back anytime soon. We're much more likely to get better game performance using Asahi Linux. Like, I don't remember the last time I made a Siri request. It's probably been a few months ago. I only ever use it to like say like, oh Siri, start a timer or something. Because it's so inaccurate. Arodinel says that they have an M1 Air with 16 gigabytes of RAM, 1 terabyte SSD. Yeah, it's yeah, the M1 Air is incredibly efficient. When games are designed for the chip, like World of Warcraft, one of the first native game AAA games for the Mac, then it's absolutely incredible. I bet the battery life is way better than your 2018 i7 as well. Riven demo for Mac out today on Steam. Did that just come out today? Okay, demo released today. League of Legends is already out for Mac. Does Proton work through Asahi? It actually does through the micro VM feature. So if you check out Asahi Lina's recent live streams, incredible progress has been made on Asahi Linux. We're looking at Vulkan, the basic Vulkan support on Asahi Linux within the next month. Okay. I can type to Siri. Okay, that's pretty incredible that you can just do that for a messages app. I wonder if that'll work for other cross-platform apps too. Yeah, eGPUs even on Intel Macs, very janky setup. You're better off just building a PC. Okay, that's cool. I like this AI integration of photos because I have like over 100,000 photographs now. Photographs of kids, photos of holidays, photographs of like stuff. If I could just use Siri to like help organize my apps, that would be incredible. Yeah, eGPU setups not coming back, incredibly janky even on Windows computers. You're better off just installing Windows. You're putting that GPU, selling the enclosures, putting that GPU inside a Windows box, and make it work better. So game porting toolkit, what are the features? So Nick's saying that we have, let me see, better Windows compatibility, new shader debugging tools, allows games to move from Mac to iPad, iPhone, iPad more easily. Okay, these are my notes so far. Yeah, the big tree. I like the name Sequoia. But it's really funny that we have all these like very American-centric names. Like we don't get Sequoias, Grand Sequoias in the UK. So when I was helping to service a lot of like Mac users with tech support in the UK, people will talk to me about I want to upgrade to macOS Yosemite. I want to go to Yosemite. Or they were like, and they'll talk to me about I want to upgrade. The computer tells me to upgrade to El Captain. Oh, did my stream just stop? Did my camera just stop working? I think it looks like my video stream stopped working. Did it stop working? Tell me in chat. I think my My thing just died. I think I'm going to turn off my camera stream and I can see it properly. Okay, what else we got? As long as we don't have the audio, it'd be much harder to track. I think my camera stopped working. Okay, I don't want to risk too much of like I don't want my stream taken down. I'll keep the subtitles and I can see the subs. Hmm. Is just in the chat, is the stream working correctly? Just let me know, because I think somehow OBS is about to crash or something. And then the I can't change the scene of in OBS. But anyway, let me know. There is no Wuthering Waves release date. It's all very kind of skooma. Kaiji needs coin. Mm-hmm. Oh wow, AI to actually curate your preview window. Can it do it that fast? Can just read the whole email and then AI analyze it? This is incredible. I'm probably not going to do a Valheim benchmark video because it just runs really well. It's an older game as well now, so not really too fussed about it. Hmm. It's got Reddit notifications right there. Valheim, I have it running at 4K at the highest graphics setting at 4K. It runs about 40 or 50 FPS. If you turn on balance, it runs about 90 FPS at 4K. So that's on my N3 Max. Maybe test all these new games on your base M1S, see what users could expect. Yeah, I think I'll do that when I have time. I kind of run out of time. Yeah, I think a lesser res will work. I mean, what do you want really? I mean, max. Okay, so with Valheim, it's one of those things. If you self-host the world as well, it's gonna run in worse resolution. Let's see. Hmm. Yeah, if you run it at low resolutions, it's gonna work way better. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much. If you connect it to a world as well, it will run faster too. Mhm. This temperature widget is TG Pro. It's a paid app, which is very cool. And yeah, I like that image playground. That's like basically DALL-E, right? From ChatGPT. Image wand. What? Integrated right in. See, I'm paying. ChatGPT 4 is not a cheap product. Seriously. This might make me use the notes more. Thank you. Dabia, thank you very much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the support. I really enjoy making these Mac gaming videos, and I'm really looking forward to putting this thing together tonight. Need to get a copy of the stream and put together, I guess, the top 5 announcements, top 5 gaming announcements from this. Let's start brainstorming. Okay, top 5. Like the photo thing is really good already. Like doing a search for like grass or cat or something, it works well. But having natural language in there is incredible. Shame that Apple didn't incorporate Vulkan support, and not happening really. Vulkan support is going to happen with Asahi Linux. Okay, that's the most reliable thing. Okay, we have the big thing, the 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, the top 5 Okay, top 5 things. I think the number 1 thing is game porting Toolkit 2. Okay. Number 2 is the games. I think Power World is the big one. It's not been announced yet. And then we've got Resident Evil 7 and 2. And then the other games too, right? Other games. Plus other games. Okay, number 3 would be... Oh, it was... No, the big ones are Control, the Power World, Resident Evil 7 and 2, Control. Other games. Ray tracing games announced, specifically Control plus Mirage. We kind of knew that Mirage was coming out. Cyber Proton is coming out a lot sooner than you might think. First public version will probably be in the next 2 months. Okay, we've got iPhone mirroring. iPhone mirroring. Oh, that's cool. Hmm. Okay, so we're finally getting iPhone audio recording for the first time, which is cool. Sonic McFlurry, how do I know when to use D3D Metal or DXVK in crossover? It really depends on the game. I'm in the middle of editing my crossover advanced tips video, so it really just depends on the game. A lot of games support both, but basically you use D3D Metal for DirectX 12 games, and most games work better through D3D Metal versus DXVK. There are some exceptions, like Counter-Strike 2 works better on DXVK. Some games work better on DXVK, but generally speaking, D3D Metal is going to be better. Wow, Siri's going straight into ChatGPT. 4.0 is incredible already. Okay. Opportunity, frame generation. Hmm. I like this like privacy. It's asking whether we want to feed the AI content machine first. So privacy first. It doesn't just like take all your photographs and just upload them into ChatGPT. Just gonna see if my camera's working again. I'm trying to get my streaming to work properly. I don't know why my camera's just frozen up. It's weird. Getting ChatGPT 4.0 into your phone and your Mac for free is incredible because it costs $20 a month to use ChatGPT 4.0. So that's like $120 a year that you don't have to spend. What's the release date for Wuthering Waves? No, I have no idea when that's coming out, I'm afraid. But you can play right now using Mimi Player Pro on the Mac. It runs the Android version being emulated through like an Android virtual machine. Mimi Player Pro runs it great. I have no idea when the Mac version is coming out. They haven't announced it. There's so many new features. And they put it in the Notes app. The Notes app is something I don't use. What's Bare Notes? Is Parallels crossover VMWF? What's VMWF? Virtual Machine. Best for using VR Quest Meta 3 on M1 Mac. Yeah, a sub $600 PC is going to work better because there's nothing that's going to work with the VR Meta Quest 3 on a Mac. You want to be using an Apple Vision Pro, or basically using as a PC. A $600 PC will work better, I'm afraid, just in terms of compatibility. If you can spend $1,000 on a PC with a semi-decent GPU, then you're going to have decent performance. Free ChatGPT is nuts. Oh, VMware Fusion. Yeah, none of those things are going to work well for Meta Quest 3 because even if you could get a VR game working, it'll just work way worse than a Windows PC. A $600 PC, you could build like an equivalent of a gaming PC from like 2015, 2016. And those, we were running, I was running Half-Life Alyx on an equivalent PC of that era. Free ChatGPT 4.0 is incredible. It does make it scary though, because it just means that not everyone is using ChatGPT, but now if the normies get their hands on ChatGPT and start generating images and chat messages, and it'll be really hard to know what's real and what's fake. Thank you for watching the stream, Carbon. It's been really interesting trying to skirt around my live stream got taken down. I'm really afraid of this live stream getting taken down again. So that's why I'm running all this weird stuff on the screen at the same time and you can't hear the audio. How's Unreal Engine on Gaming Portal these days? Game Porting Toolkit. Some games work well. Like some Unreal Engine 5 games work okay, like Palworld. But of course, Palworld's getting a native version, so that's great. Okay, a lot of people have been asking about Valheim. I will make a video then. I'll do it. Valheim on Mac. I'll do it. I will generate an image of my favorite content creator, Andrew. Okay. I'm sure that I'm not your favorite content creator. There's lots of other people out there. They should have called it like Apple. They could have called it Apple Intelligence Frame Generation. Or like Lightning Frame or something. They could call it some Apple thing. Okay, this is exciting stuff. What's PAX Day? New games? What's PAX Day? I'm writing down my notes. Okay, it's cool. Okay, that was very cool. I think I'm putting together my notes now. I think this is pretty much the big things, right? Was there any like Mac OS Sequoia actual features? No actual features for gaming? I think about Game Porting Toolkit 2. I'm like, what is the purpose of Game Porting Toolkit 2? Because the point of Game Porting Toolkit is to port games, is to show developers that you can port games easily onto the Apple ecosystem, right? What is the point of Game Porting Toolkit 2? Because all it's going to do is give maybe better... What's the point of better Windows compatibility if... let's say you're a Windows game developer and you want to figure out whether the game will run through D3D Metal or not. If it doesn't work, you can just tweak your game and like force it to work. But what is the purpose of putting that together? I can't really think what the strategy is. And if Craig is actually, if Craig is actually acknowledging the fact that Game Porting Toolkit is being used by gaming enthusiasts, what does that mean? Does that mean that Apple are condoning gaming enthusiasts like us, running Windows games through Game Porting Toolkit? Because that's one strategy, is like getting Windows games to run on a Mac is one thing, and then the other thing is all of these other native ARM Mac games, coming to the Mac. That's their other strategy, probably paying them to do so, right? And then integrating proper ray tracing into games, although ray tracing is not supported through Game Porting Toolkit games, which is where almost all of the ray tracing games are, right? So it's a kind of confusing strategy. Like, why acknowledge gaming enthusiasts like us? Why improve Windows game compatibility? Because developers, if you own your own source code, you could easily tweak your Windows game or whatever game to like work better through Game Porting Toolkit if there are any issues. So that's kind of pointless. Shaded debugging tools, I mean, it's a bit opaque what that means exactly. We already have the metal shader converter. There's like an update to metal shader converter, one of the essential parts of Game Porting Toolkit. And the ability to port the game from Mac to iPhone more easily. What does that mean? Because a native ARM64 codebase should, coded in metal. Well, iPhone and iPad games can already work on a Mac natively if the developer chooses to. So what's the point of doing it the other way around? Does that mean that they're trying to get PowerWorld working on an iPad? That would be incredible. These Mac games, if they work on a Mac, does that mean that they want more games ported into the ecosystem? Yeah, trying to read the chat. They mentioned iPad and Mac together with M series Mac games to come to iPad because of the M chips. Yeah, the M chips make a compelling point. I think Apple are trying to pull a Steam Deck here. I think that they're like doing like a 10% Steam Deck strategy maybe, because if they were trying to pull a Steam Deck, they'd be like, well, now Cyberpunk 2077 works really well on the Mac using the best that Game Porting Toolkit D3D Metal can offer, buy crossover, run it on a Mac. Why not just do it like that? I don't know. It's definitely not a Steam Deck strategy. It's like a really half-hearted attempt to say that gaming enthusiasts are using it, but it's not the best. It's not the full, what we want is a translation layer. We want Proton, we want Steam Deck like compatibility on the Mac. It's possible. The technology is like mostly there. It just requires more kind of Apple developer support and more of a push behind that from that corporate end. And he's like Craig saying, like, you can run Cyberpunk on the Mac, you can run Diablo 4 on the Mac using these compatibility tools. But they're never going to do that. They're trying to focus on these native ARM titles. And if this is the best that we have for the next year, it's still quite disappointing. It's cool we can see the new one is like, the new ones are Dead Island 4 2. Did we have, yeah, we had Sniper Elite announced a few days ago. We knew Wuthering Waves is coming. The big one is PowerWorld, right? Is PowerWorld still a big deal? Let me see, is PowerWorld still big? It was huge before. My son and my daughter are playing it still. Let me see. Yeah, people are still playing it. Just not hundreds of thousands of people. It's the typical Mac thing, right? PowerWorld is still incredibly popular, especially from basically an indie game, but it's a far cry from its all-time peak. 24-hour peak is 26,000. They just don't have the capability of producing enough content. So yeah, we have a Mac port that's kind of late, late in the day, which is a shame. AC Mirage, okay. Yeah, the other missed opportunity is missed opportunity No AC Mirage. Okay, because you know if you think that Ubisoft, right, are working so closely with Apple, then it doesn't make any sense for Assassin's Creed Mirage to not be on the Mac as well. When Assassin's Creed Shadows coming for the Mac as was, you know, they didn't say it was going to be a simultaneous console PC release with the Mac, but they did say it's coming soon. It wouldn't be out of the question for these games to be delayed. Yeah. So it's interesting to see here. We don't have Assassin's Creed Mirage, but we do have Prince of Persia: Lost Crown, and another Ubisoft game, which actually works really well using Ryujinx. With the Nintendo Switch version, it's basically native. So even though you're emulating that game, it works great. I've done a live stream on that in the past. Yeah, and of course we have iPhone mirroring. So they called it. What do they call it? They called it continuity. Is that what they called it? It's called iPhone continuity. Is that? What do they call it? The camera thing. It's continuity camera. Is it continuity mirroring? I'll have to look up. I have to download the live stream again and just like examine it properly. GPT-4 runs on OpenAI servers, not Apple Silicon. You need to give permission to share data with ChatGPT. Yeah, Darren Lin, thanks for clarifying that. They give us crumbs so we don't leave. I mean, the thing about Mac gaming, right, is that I think for like the casual gamer, this is like a lot of games for the casual gamer. You know, if you bought half, for me, like I'm nearly hitting 40 years old, right? This I can barely play. If you told me I have to play all these games within 1 year, I will struggle to finish all of them because I just don't have enough time, right? And this represents like a few hundred hours of content, right? Which is just not realistic for a lot of people. So it is enough for some people. For obviously for hardcore gamers, this is like nothing. Okay, this is like 2 months of gaming. So it's a shame. Yeah, it's a shame that Apple hardware is insane. Why gatekeep emulators? People think Macs suck at gaming. Little do they know it's the Chinese translations and it's not natively. Yeah. A lot of games still use Rosetta. I mean, to be fair, most of these, I think all of these games are going to be native ARM. If they're going to be featured, they're going to be native. Yeah. Let me just find it. Let me just check this out. LucaX.com. Just want to play Elden Ring. Yeah, I know. No way, I thought you were in your 20s. I'm 38 years old. I have two kids, and my oldest is 12 years old. I'm an old man. I'm an old man. I'm gonna die soon. That's what I feel like. You know. They just need to dump money into it. They burned their bridge with Epic and Microsoft, own everything now. They won't play ball yet. The thing is that, you know, Apple are in such a good position for like for gaming, and they're obviously doing something right. I mean, technically they own like the biggest gaming market on the planet, and iPhone users spend so much money on in-app purchases that they're not really worried about this. It's kind of like there's enough game announcements for this year for it to not just be lip service, right? But it is close to that. It's close to being an almost nothing announcement because game porting these Game Porting Toolkit 2's announcements are very opaque. It doesn't really, I mean, more easily convert games from Mac to iPhone doesn't mean a lot, right? New tools, I mean, that doesn't mean a huge amount. Better compatibility, I'd like to, obviously they can't say it on a WWDC. I'd be really interested to see what that means exactly. Does that mean better compatibility with anti-cheats? Does that mean the Apple Game Porting Toolkit team are working really hard on trying to get every single game working through the translation layer? Are they working through code weavers to do that? I really doubt that's happening. So this is a very opaque non-transparent thing to, to discuss. Yeah. I present such to you. Thank you very much, Fool's Gold. Bro has that Asian agelessness. Yeah. Okay. So Mac Pro Tips, thanks for joining. No great multiplayer games on Mac. We just need one. That's true. Okay. So we need so there are obviously there are lots of multiplayer titles. A lot of the MMOs like Final Fantasy 14, World of Warcraft, EVE Online. We have Albion Online. We have lots of like cooperative multiplayer games like that, which are good. We also have, this game, the multiplayer game on this list is Power World, right? Which is not as big a multiplayer hit as you might think. What we really need is like a competitive shooter. So I think the main reason we don't have that is just because of anti-cheat requirements, which is a real shame. Yeah. A deal with Take-Two would be good for them. Civ 7. See, Civilization 7 is coming out for Mac. So there was a leaked release, which is good. Civ 7 was leaked. This is coming to Mac. This is coming to Mac OS, which is good. So that is happening. That is happening, but it's just it doesn't necessarily require a specific kind of deal with Apple. The Internet Hub. Wow, you aged well. Yeah, I'm 38, and on the Resident Evil 7 release date, I'm turning 39. So yeah, I feel old. I don't know. Maybe I don't look old, but people always say I look like I'm in my 20s. And I'm not sure that's a good thing. My there's a guy here at my kids' school who's always telling me I look younger because I'm like losing weight. So because I said earlier in the stream, I've lost nearly 12 kilograms in 1.5 years. So if you look back at my old videos, I have a bit more like face fat, which I've lost, and it's helped me look a bit younger as well. And I'm trying to lose another like 5-10 kilos in the next year. I'm trying to do it slowly and surely, and maybe that'll be yeah, that'll help. Yeah, so my birthday is July 2nd. Mac Pro Tips. Is your birthday on July 2nd? I'm 50, you're still a kid. Don't get down about it. No, please is a good thing. I don't know, you got insane genetics. It's okay, I guess. Are you Korean? Are you Asian as well? Oh, Mac Pro Tips' birthday is also July 2nd. Well, happy birthday. I'll be sure to open. I don't know. We should do something. So someone's saying here, I'm excited that Wuthering Waves will be coming to Mac. Well, yeah, I'm excited too, but I don't really play these gacha games very much. Has Wuthering Waves actually done much in terms of like dethroning Genshin Impact? Is it popular? I've read a lot of like negativity about it, just not to do with the action mechanics, but more to do with like the storyline and the animations and how things are slightly worse than Genshin Impact. Yeah, I'll definitely celebrate. We'll celebrate. I'm probably not going to do anything special, but I guess on July the 2nd, I'll be playing Resident Evil 7. I played it before, got it on Steam, of course. It's funny that I'll probably be streaming Resident Evil 7 that day. Resident Evil 2 is obviously coming out later as well. What is the RoboCop game? What is RoboCop Rogue City? Is this good? 9 out of 10. It's first-person shooter. This came out last year? Yeah. Is Rogue City good? This completely missed me. Oh yeah, I did hear it was good because it was one of these strange like license games which you don't really think is going to do well, like an old license game. I mean, you know, you talk to people now like Robocop. People don't really know what that is in the modern day because no one's made like a remake of the films or rebooted the films. Like there's loads of like 80s and 90s reboots, like Total Recall. They made a new film of that, made a new Dune film, you know. But Robocop, they just haven't. It's not in the popular consciousness. So it's really weird to see a shooter about using this license. Digital Foundry liked it. Yeah, Unreal Engine 5 game. That's cool. When is iOS and iPad OS developer update? Didn't they say today? Yeah, I think it's live. Okay, let's just see. Is the stuff live yet? So can we see? Let's see. Where's the game porting toolkit stuff? Has anyone seen the actual game porting toolkit 2 page yet? Is there a way to save crossover Steam games to external SSD? Yeah, just save it to the Z drive under volumes. I'm making a crossover advanced tips video, which I'll publish like tomorrow. Well, if I've got time, I'll publish it this week. Yeah, Valheim is already out. They didn't even announce Valheim in They didn't even announce Valheim in the WWDC, did they? I didn't see it. What are the odds that Apple is secretly pushing Rockstar for Mac support of GTA 6 in the future? Well, they're probably trying, but it's incredibly unlikely. Like if they haven't published GTA 5 or Red Dead Redemption 2 on macOS, then it's incredibly unlikely that GTA 6 is coming out. I mean, I made a whole video about why it's not happening. So if you want to check that out, GTA 6 is not happening. Why does it say that GPTK has AVX support? What does it say that? Let me know. Oh my god, that's incredible, because if it has AVX support, then we could probably get games like Alan Wake 2 working. Yeah, Windows snapping. Windows snapping is good. Yeah, I'll have to check the link on my actual PC because I'm using a streaming PC. Oh my god. What? Game Porting Toolkit 2 makes it easier than ever to bring the unified gaming platform across Mac, iPhone, and iPad. Take advantage of improved compatibility, expanded guidance, and updated tools. AVX2 instruction set. How's that? I thought this was like a Rosetta 2 incompatibility. What? Okay, let me read this whole thing. This is it. Okay. If you have a Windows binary, run it on the evaluation. Okay, that's our D3D Metal using Metal HUD, GPU debugger, and Metal System Trace. Review the human interface guidelines and learn how to deliver an outstanding experience across Mac, iPhone, and iPad. Okay, I want to make this smaller so people can read this while I look at this. Use the game porting example code to learn how to map your game subsystems. Okay, fine. Evaluate your Windows executable on Apple Silicon. So to find out how your game performs on Apple Silicon or if your graphics are portable, evaluate your unmodified Windows executable on Apple Silicon using the evaluation environment for Windows games. You can test your game, understand its performance, and validate your shaders. The latest version supports an even larger set of game technologies, improved graphics and compute compatibility, ray tracing. Okay, this is a big deal because firstly, there are no ray traced games. And secondly, ray tracing on Windows is much more mature. There's like way more games which support ray tracing on Windows. So that's a huge deal. And then this AVX2 instruction set, that is a huge deal as well. Increased performance. You can even start debugging and profiling your game while in evaluation using Metal tools, such as Metal HUD, Metal GPU Capture, and Metal System Trace. So we already read that bit. That is pretty incredible. Okay. What else are we missing? There are even more ways to get started with this evaluation environment by using community projects like Whiskey and Homebrew. Okay, Whiskey is getting a good shout out. I wonder how many people are going to be using Whiskey today. And products like Crossover from Codeweavers. To learn more, port advanced games to Apple platforms. So is this out yet? Port advanced. Is this an old one or a new one? Available June the 10th. That's today. Discover how simple it can be to reach players on Apple platforms worldwide. We'll show you how to evaluate your Windows executable on Apple Silicon. Start your game port with code samples, convert your shader code to Metal, and bring your game to Mac, iPhone, and iPad. Explore enhanced Metal tools that you understand HLSL shaders to validate, debug, and profile your ported shaders onto Metal. Okay, so that's not out yet. This is not different from the WWDC2023 thing, which had all of these. We had this already. Render with Metal, compile your shaders. We had another one. There was a third one as well, part 1, which was about using Game Porting Toolkit to evaluate your game, not play them. Yes, Uncharted could work. What are the other AVX2 support games? Like we have Uncharted Collection. Yeah, God of War, Ragnarok. So the Sony games, right? The Sony. You don't need to use Yuzu in Game Porting Toolkit. We've got Ryujinx and it works great. Well, Crossover is officially announced on Apple platforms, so it's very interesting that this has happened. Yeah, Last of Us Remastered, Starfield. So this big question marks about all these new games. Okay, this is a lot more exciting than I thought it was. This is a bit like last year when they did a kind of soft announcement for this like evaluation layer. It's very exciting. AVX is just like any other instruction set. AMD had to adapt it just like they did with MMX. Companies just copy the instruction code and best match to the native Apple Silicon instructions. Yeah, I mean, that's what's been missing the whole time, is that? Yeah. Red Dead Redemption 2, I've heard that it's not an AVX issue, but I could be proven wrong. There are a lot of new games for iPhone 15, so I wouldn't be surprised if something like that comes up. Okay, so let's go back to here. So Whiskey gets a shout out. What else? Does this? I mean, a lot of people have been having issues with I haven't used the command line interface for Game Porting Toolkit for a really long time. So I'll sign into this later. So I wonder if I'm going to check out my Discord, see if people are asking whether CX Patcher is going to integrate Game Porting Toolkit 2 yet. It's not going to happen that fast. It's going to take a bit of time. Design your game for Apple devices. Players expect your game to feel right at home. New human interface guidelines. Okay, good. Well, that's more for like iPhone games. Yeah, thank you, Mac Pro Tips, for the super chat. It's really appreciated. Thank you very much for coming to the stream and also helping to moderate as well. Really appreciate it. AVX is the equivalent of Ultivec back in the PPC days. Yeah, I have no idea what that is. I didn't really use. I was on the tail end of the PPC Apple Macs. Yeah, there's no way. Valorant is not a technical issue on a Mac. It's an anti-cheat issue. So, and that's more like a corporate issue. So the problem is like the it's possible to do it, but they would need to get Apple would need to get some kind of corporate push to allow exceptions, to allow various anti-cheats to have exceptions on Mac, and really Apple really wants like a native Mac version instead. So, you know, it's not really going to happen. It's not going to allow, like, technically easy anti-cheat could have exceptions for compatibility layers. For example, like Apex Legends uses easy anti-cheat. It works. You can play multiplayer games on the Steam Deck, and it works fine because basically Valve lobbied Epic and the easy anti-cheat to allow these exceptions for Proton, and Apple could do a similar thing, but they just haven't. It's not their priority. They want like a native Mac version instead, and if that could have anti-cheat compatibility, then that would be better than everything else. AVX games, Sonic Forces. Okay, I'm gonna write these down. Thank you very much, Pi Studios. Sonic Forces. I'm gonna do it on Origins. Sonic Frontiers. Judgment. Lost Judgment. Yakuza 7. Yakuza 8. Persona 5 Royale. Many Sega games. So the Sega games, the Sony games, those are the ones which we're missing the AVX compatibility. I mean, it's pretty huge. Like in the trifecta of everything, last year, Game Porting Toolkit overcame the big DirectX 12 issue. Now, Codeweavers were working on it with the D3D. They had Diablo 2 remastered up and running, but D3D Metal really like blew everything out of the water. It completely changed the equation. EAFC24. Thank you, Dia, for telling me that. But now if we have AVX2 support, that's like the last big chunk. And then really, I mean, that was like a huge technical hurdle stopping us from being able to run those games. And then I guess the last one is the anti-cheats, anti-cheat. And that's not a technical issue. It's like a corporate strategy issue, right? Lossless scaling of 2.1, is that FSR? It can work through crossover through some hacks, but we don't have frame generation yet. So we don't have any Mac frame generation, which is very, very which is would have been an easy win, I think, because because FSR3 frame generation is already open source, and so integrating that into Metal FX wouldn't be that complicated. Okay. Using C++ with Metal. Okay, I don't really know much about that. If you have Windows asset creation pipelines, the Metal developer tools for Windows will let you use your existing infrastructure to develop assets for Apple devices. Use the Metal compiler, an offline binary generator, to compile and tailor graphics and compute shaders for Apple GPUs, and the Metal texture converter to convert textures to formats that Metal supports. Okay. So Sam says, I had severe graphical glitches with AC Black Flag through DX3K because D3D Metal had little to no performance boost. Yeah, because that's a direct. I think it's a DirectX 9 game, right? So it's not gonna. D3D Metal will do nothing for it. It will default back to D3D. So DXVK will be better for that, I think. Yeah, Fortnite is not. Again, Fortnite is not really a. It's a corporate issue because Epic withdrew the Fortnite from the macOS, even though, you know, I mean, ostensibly the reason why Epic removed Fortnite from iPhone and iPad is because they didn't want to pay all the in-app purchase Apple tax, the 30% tax. But on macOS, you don't have that issue. So they never really needed to remove it from macOS. Epic also own Easy Anti-Cheat, so they could easily have done that. But they just like it's a strategy, corporate strategy thing. They didn't want to support Apple platforms, even though the Epic Game Store on a Mac is they're in full control of that. Yes, Detroit Become Human. That's another AVX2 game. The Detroit Human. So you can already run PC Game Pass games on the Mac, of course, using any browser. There's no restrictions on this, but on the mobile platforms, there's a lot of restrictions on that. So it's interesting for iPhone, iPad, but for the Mac, it would be nice to be able to run Game Pass games through Parallels or VMware Fusion, but there's some kind of storage thing which means you can't even download the games in the first place. Wow, a lot of people are asking about Wuthering Waves. No release date for Wuthering Waves so far, but when it comes out, I will definitely cover it. Yeah, I'm not going to install the beta version of macOS yet. Okay, let's read this again. Okay, let's look at this again. Let's come out yet. Refresh. Okay, this is nothing special. Let's see if there's anything to Toolkit. There's not that much more special about. There's anything else coming out. Design advanced games. Okay. Spatial computing stuff. Is there anything else? Can you guys see anything else on the WWDC kind of a developer page here for the upcoming videos that are coming out? Is there anything to do with games? I think the main thing is just this one. It's all about a lot about vision. This is the main one here. It says available June 10th, but that's today, probably later today. Yeah, Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake 2, maybe we can get that working through Game Porting Toolkit. I'll put that on the list. Considering Control is being released. It was interesting to see this year that Apple kind of admits that non-developer gamers use GPTK. I think that is a big deal, for sure. So I missed it, but somebody did say that because gaming enthusiasts. I wonder. I mean, it's probably not that many people overall. Probably tens of thousands, maybe 100,000 people. It's kind of lost in the grand sea of all the other gaming that happens on a Mac. Because if a game enthusiast runs a game on a Mac, it's kind of like a bit opaque. Apple can't really see much data about what's actually being run. And on the Steam side, the Steam hardware survey will see these users as they'll look like Windows users in a way, but obviously they can tell from the GPU that they're using. I think the overall numbers are very low still, but headlines like Cyberpunk 2077 working on a Mac, that's very interesting. But in the grand scheme of what Apple really do, it's not very important. But it's interesting that they would strategically acknowledge this. I wonder if I can get the WWDC actually open, because I want to see the replay of it, because let's try and find it. Where did he say it? Okay, I'm gonna. Oh, I can put the actual stream on now. Can you actually hear this? So here in the one sentence, he's saying developers have been able to. So that's talking about the last year, maybe 2 years. They've been using these Apple developer tools to bring more games to Apple devices, and then
Apple devices faster than ever, and
gaming enthusiasts can experience more games on the Mac. So it's kind of like the last subclause of that sentence is basically saying that more gamers can experience games on a Mac. So enthusiasts really means like what I would have called hackers in the past, but like people like us running these Windows games on the Mac when they're not supposed to run. Okay, so that's point number one.
can experience more games on the Mac, and this year,
yeah, like I said earlier, this plus this with rate. So, what's the point of enabling ray tracing on the Mac? Does this mean that we're going to see Cyberpunk 2077 ray tracing on the Mac? And we have AVX2. So these two things don't really do anything for developers, because developers, if they want to implement metal ray tracing, then they've got the ability to do that. They want to work around AVX instruction set requirements, they can do that too, using their own source code. This is really for the enthusiasts. So this is really, really interesting. You look way younger. I'm 19. I look like 30. I'm trying to keep myself looking okay these days. Okay, I'm just reading. Neon Midnight says Neon Advanced Simd is ARM alternative to SSE AVX. Things like here's a vector of 16 bytes, add them to the counterparts, and in another vector with a single instruction. I don't understand anything you've said there, but I think strategically, it's what it means. What it really means is that Apple have developed devoted resources to putting AVX2 support, something that they decided that they didn't need before, but they've added it into the game porting toolkit. And it's not really for developers, it's for the gaming enthusiasts. So that's why I think this is really interesting. Okay. Yeah, so I think that in terms of like what the most interesting thing is, I think I think I'm going to bump this down. I think AVX2 is really exciting. Okay. AVX2 is plus gaming enthusiasts. Ray traced games, but it's not just ray tracing. I need to break this down. macOS and Sequoia is not an interesting thing. It's not really that important. I've been mirroring game potential. Don't know. Well, probably not there. Yeah, Destiny 2 is not. If Destiny 2 is not coming to Mac, if it won't work on a Steam Deck, it's not going to work on a Mac. Sorry about that. I think Apple did not expect people to try this much porting and doing work to run games in last year's They definitely didn't expect it, and developing game porting toolkit to work to be distributed, changing all the legal mumbo jumbo to allow it to be distributed with crossover and Whiskey and Heroic Games Launcher. All these things are very exciting. AVX2 requires complex Rosetta 2 changes. Yeah. means Rosetta 2 is continuing development. So Rosetta 2, I mean, like, there's a lot of when you install macOS or update macOS, you need to, and you run an Intel binary or an x86 64-bit binary, you have to install Rosetta 2 to do that. There's some kind of licensing issue where you have to consent to it. It's not just bundled in. And I made a video in the past about why Rosetta 2 might get removed in the future, in the same way that Rosetta 2 1 was removed from the PPC Intel translation layer days. So it's very interesting to see that basically, instead of dropping support, they're adding support for in Rosetta 2. So I think that's very interesting. Right. This whole Apple Silicon vectors are 128-bit wide, while AVX2 is 256-bit wide. I don't understand what that means either, but strategically, there's an interesting aspect to putting development back into Rosetta 2, putting development into game enthusiast territory. The thing is, right, for Apple to implement Proton-like, Steam Deck-like compatibility on the Mac doesn't require very much. It would require open sourcing more tools like Metal and maybe D3D Metal, and it would require some corporate pushing around getting more anti-cheats to support crossover. But it wouldn't require much. I mean, they've done 90% of it already. Codeweaver's work collaborate with Apple in GBTK or crossover? Yes, because basically, I made a video about this in the past. Crossover released their bundled game porting toolkit before Apple released it themselves. So they obviously fed it to them first and collaborated with them. I don't know how much, but like at least a little bit. At least several emails were exchanged. Platform State of the Union is playing soon. Oh, what is the Platform State of the Union? What is that? I forgot that I could stream it from within this. What app is this? The app here. I think the most important thing is what I've covered already. Yeah. Yeah, if anyone can create a translation tool that works well, it's Apple. That's completely right, Claudio. And they don't even have to create it. They just need to open up some of the tools being used. Game porting toolkit, D3D. I mean, D3D Metal because it's closed source. That would be really interesting. Why exactly can we not run games that have anti-cheat? Well, it's just because of a platform thing. The whole point of anti-cheat is to stop people modifying game code in order to cheat in the game. And cheating is like, in competitive game, is like the number one issue in a game, right? And if you have a platform like the macOS, which has less than 1% of the player base and completely different, closed source graphics APIs, then you don't want people to use that. And it's cheaper to just exclude an entire platform than it is to do the necessary work to get the anti-cheat working on a Mac or on a compatibility layer, which is even more fraught with issues. Yeah. I think that can explain why Apple mentions Codeweavers on their developer website. Yes. It's a shame. I think it's a shame that they mention it after. I mean, I don't think developers are really looking at Whiskey and crossover. This should have been first, right? Because Codeweavers are the kind of the masters of wine. They're the main contributors to wine, whereas Whiskey doesn't contribute to wine in nearly the same way. Codeweavers have a whole massive team that do all the work behind Proton and crossover, etc. So I think funding crossover is quite quite a valuable thing. So it'd be nicer to have it first, but in reality, most end users are not going to see this page like ever. So AVX2 is not only about Apple gaming. What is it for then? Alt software. But Game Porting Toolkit is about, I mean, the AVX2 support. Is that coming system-wide to macOS Sequoia? Does that mean that we could run virtual machine and take advantage of AVX2, or is it just part of Game Porting Toolkit 2? Maybe the shift in strategy like Microsoft did with Prism x64 emulator, where they acknowledged that their ARM devices were running a lot of x86 code. Well, the Mac already has a Prism x64 emulator, which is Rosetta 2. So it's more than that, right? It's more than just getting legacy Mac stuff working. This is about getting Windows stuff working. It's about getting Intel binaries working on a Mac. So I find it very interesting. This Halo collection you can only play on a Mac through crossover, so that works pretty well through Game Porting Toolkit. Okay, I think I have a lot of content to work through. What is the State of the Union? What is the State of the Union? Am I supposed to be watching that? Platform State of the Union. What was it in 2023? Okay, it's a developer.
You visualize your app.
It's a developer thing. Okay. So I'm probably not going to look at that right now because the main thing that's important is this one here, which I don't think it's going to cover that much new ground because it's just about evaluating your game. And unless it has a lot of information about AVX2, then I'm not sure how relevant it's going to be for this announcement. Be interesting. Please test, Real Legend says, please test more RPS-CS3 games on the M1. I haven't seen much improved compatibility, and I look back at the PS3 era of gaming, and I don't really, I don't really see many games that people really want to play. And at the moment, there's a lot of these like remaster titles from Sony, which are, probably going to replace the desire to play. I mean, the PS3 era was pretty good. I think the PS2 era is better in terms of what games are released for it. And PS3 emulation is just not as good as it could be. Right? It's very good for some games like Demon Souls. But like God of War 3, for example, it's probably not going to work well on a Mac. It doesn't work well on Windows. So it's not going to work well on Mac for years, maybe a long time. GPDK is a recommendation engine. I'm not sure what that means. It could do two things. One, on-the-fly code translation and on-the-fly code adoption recommendations. I don't know what that means. What's an adoption recommendation? Are there any changes to the file app for iPadOS? I didn't see anything like that. I think it would be really important to get something like that. Okay, let's make sure we save this file. Always tell my son, like, that we need to save the file first, otherwise we might lose it. The Death Stranding port is really good. Took ages to download through the Mac App Store. Can't resume, which is just painful. Yeah. I don't think we'll ever see code weavers appear at WWDC. I mean, this token mention, as far as I can tell, is that, I mean, if I do a search for siteapple.com code weavers, minus site. Developer dot. we don't have anything. We don't have any real code weavers like acknowledgement. The best we have is a is a third party podcast. So there's no real mention of code weavers on at the Apple website at all. So this hasn't been indexed yet properly, but this is like the main one. This is like the only one I can think of, which is actually doing anything. What do I think about the announcements? Well, this is basically my script, which I'm going to make a video on like right now. So, is Game Porting Toolkit 2 going to be focused on shaders like you mentioned? So the metal shader thing is like, there is like the metal shader tool is a big deal. DXIL converts DirectX shaders into metal. I've literally never used it. Of course, I'm not a game developer, so I don't really understand how it works. If you're a developer, then let me know. But it's there. It's like it's arguably for a developer is the more important part of Game Porting Toolkit, because it allows things like mesh shaders to be converted. There's a whole pipeline to allow these Windows games to be converted to the Mac. Ostensibly there to like reduce the amount of development time involved. But really, the big issue is the metal. For us, it's this evaluation stage for the game enthusiast too. So, will Windows on ARM bare metal ever be possible? Yeah, like I've addressed this already. This boot camp is not coming back. Copilot Plus is where Windows ARM is going to live. Boot camp's not coming, but Proton on through Asahi Linux. That's probably why what we're really hoping for, because the question of like, is Windows coming to bare metal is not really important. Like, I don't think Windows 11 ARM is the future anymore. The question is more like, can we get Proton like games to work? I mean, arguably Asahi Linux could be the answer to all of our Mac gaming prayers, because that runs bare metal and that has the potential to run Proton, which is what the Steam Deck runs, and have nearly as much compatibility using its own micro VN systems to run x86 64-bit games on the Apple Silicon Mac. So that's really the important thing there. But I'll write it in my notes because people keep asking this. If people keep asking this, it means it's a good video. Mac Pro Tips, thanks for commenting. I'm really surprised. I've got more people in the stream after WWDC finished than were there when I was actually watching in the first place. So, am I going to try Game Porting Toolkit 2 today? I don't think I will, because unless it gets released with crossover, or it gets CX patched into crossover, it's not something I'm going to be looking at. The downloads will go live after the State of the Union, so okay, I'm gonna open up my Discord. And there's quite a lot of stuff happening in the Discord, so just, why do I got streamer mode turned on? Okay, so I'm reading my own Discord. Okay, this streamer is not working because I'm not running OBS. I'm not running OBS on my Mac. So I'm doing it here. So the download NetBro works for Apple. So the Mac developers channel's quite useful. So once it's live, so once Game Porting Toolkit is live, then yeah. So Mac projects, why did you see that Sequoia is not required for Game Porting Toolkit 2? The PlayStation API is behind NDA. Favorite announcement for is window snapping. Okay, so it looks like what's going to happen is that once the okay, what was the Eastern time US? Current time is 12. So after the State of the Union is finished, which is like in a couple of hours, 2-3 hours, then Game Porting Toolkit 2 will get released. I think at this stage it's it's too early to actually tell what it actually means. I don't actually know what it means yet. So there's things which have been hidden from us, which we still don't have full information about. So this AVX2 instruction set. Okay, Nat and someone in Discord mentioned that Game Porting Toolkit doesn't require macOS Sequoia. So if I can, that was a pain last year because like we had to install the beta version of macOS Sonoma. People were trying to get Game Porting Toolkit working on Ventura. Only some games worked on Ventura. It was like a real shit show. So if we can get it working on Sonoma, then that would be great. What do I use to stream this right now? I'm using OBS YouTube Live. I'm using a streaming PC. So I'm streaming this via HDMI to my Mac from my Mac. Vulkan 1.3 for support through Asahi Linux in 1 month will be our best case. I mean, it's a good case. It's just that the Asahi Linux team is so small. They've achieved so much with so little, but really, like a mature gaming platform would have dozens of people. Like Crossover, Codeweavers have like 60 or 70 members of staff, whereas I think Asahi Linux has 3 people working on it full time. I wish there was more development work going on behind it. Game Porting Toolkit 2, let's go. Yeah. So any way to use third-party controllers on the Mac? If they can mimic, if a third-party controller can mimic, obviously a lot of controllers, they do DualSense 4 support. So if they can do that, then that would be better. Then it would work. If it can mimic an Xbox, then it would work. I haven't played around with I haven't really played around with it yet. I've only ever used Xbox and PlayStation controls, and also there's a good controller called from 8BitDo. There's loads of controls from 8BitDo, like the SM30 Pro, and then there are various controls. You can change the modes on how they work. Yeah. How's my day been? It's been good. I've been really tired. I've been working on this crossover advanced tips video. I've other videos that I'm working on as well, and I wish I'd finished it before today because you put all this work into it, and it's going to be slightly out of date already. It just shows that when you have a video idea, you should just finish it as quickly as possible. And a lot of stuff happened today, like Valheim came out for Mac, and then all this other stuff came out as well. The Real Legend 69 is asking about controllers, support for wired controllers. I'm sorry, but wired controllers are kind of the past now, so you can't really buy wired controllers, especially third-party ones, so probably not going to cover it. Bluetooth controllers are where it's at. Have I tested the latest macOS? It's not even available to download yet, so I can't really test it out yet. But yeah, there's not much to say. I'm gathering my thoughts to make a video about this because it is much more exciting than I thought it would be. The gameplay. I haven't really looked at the gameplay. Does the gameplay look good? Let's have a look again.
Stunning vistas, embellished.
It's not. This is like in-game, in-engine Assassin's Creed games coming out to the Mac.
Use your iPhone.
Game porting Toolkit 2. That's the real interesting part of this whole thing. There's no other macOS kind of features. I mean, the closest other thing is iframe mirroring, which arguably we had before, but the fact that now you can now control the iPhone using the keyboard and trackpad and mouse means you could play games on it, but it means that you could maybe see it bigger. I haven't seen it do a widescreen iPhone view. Could you full screen it? Is it always going to be in this frame? I mean, that's an interesting question. Well, okay, cool. I'm not gonna lie, I hate the AI generated nonsense they implemented. It seems really irresponsible on their part. I think that is low key probably one of the biggest changes we're going to see, because once you put ChatGPT 4.0 into the hands of every Apple user, then once everyone gets it, then and it becomes ubiquitous. Well, like right now, if you want to generate an AI image or something, then you have to like use a separate app. It's not like in the hands of every single person. But once it gets integrated into your phone, then like the normies are gonna get their hands on it. Okay, Nat is giving more info. No change to the license. Okay. In general, across both the OS version and some increased performance, some better compatibility on Sequoia, there's quite a bit more compatibility to AVX. So Sequoia is going to be where we want to be at. So I'm gonna have to install Sequoia. I don't enjoy the game porting toolkit command line interface. I really didn't like that era. That era of my YouTube channel where everything was done through a command line. I did not like that at all. Okay, is ray tracing working on Sequoia now? Oh my god. Okay, big performance improvements. Yeah, getting 52 frames per second at that resolution on an M3 Pro is it's a pretty big deal. Right, with ray tracing turned on. Okay, that is a big deal. Oh my god. Oh my god, I can't be. The amount of work I have to do is a bit nuts. Okay, no, it's 25 FPS on low ray tracing. Hmm. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna have to do is like wait a little bit longer we need like an easy way to get Game Porting Toolkit to. I mean, it remains to be seen. It remains to be seen exactly which is going to be the superior method, at least at this testing stage, because over the last like 9 months, I've been using Crossover to run Game Porting Toolkit. It's been like way easier. Okay, I don't want to make my content about watching my Discord channel. Oh God. How long do I think until Game Porting Toolkit is brought into Crossover? The thing about Crossover is that Crossover tends to get released for end users at specific intervals. And we haven't had this situation before where if Game Porting Toolkit 2 works best on macOS Sequoia, macOS Sequoia is probably like 3 months away from being released. So Crossover won't necessarily just release it. Okay, Diablo 4 with Game Porting Toolkit 2, README has info on how to import it into Crossover. Okay, I've got to download Game Porting Toolkit. Okay, I don't want to reveal my username and password and everything, so I'm just going to do it from my Windows PC and copy it over. So apparently it's like available to download now. So I'm just going to go into my developer account on my PC and then copy it over. Just logging in. Oof. Use my phone to do my two-factor. Okay, so okay, let me just find this. Okay, Game Porting Toolkit Beta released today. Just put it. Let's do this. Let's do this live. Let's see. Okay. Okay, cool. So I can get it on my Mac now. Let's have a look on my Mac. Oh, got so much crap to do, and it's just like, when something like this happens, right? It's very exciting, but it's also like real pain because it means that it's so exciting that I need to do it now. Okay, Game Porting Toolkit. It's still calling itself an evaluation environment. So when we agree to this, it normally mounts it. What's the README say? Okay, it's just the website. Okay. What's a cloud save sample? Cross-device saves. Okay, I don't know why they've included that. README. Okay, let's read this. Oh my god, let's make this bigger. Come on, guys. I need to make this bigger because I got my eyes. The evaluation environment for Windows games is now a subset of the expanded game porting toolkit. The evaluation environment helps games, still calling it evaluation environment, only runs for Windows games only runs on Apple Silicon Macs running iOS. Okay, so it does say Sonoma, so that's what I've got now. 16 gigabytes recommended. Graphics bridge libraries, that means D3D Metal. Okay, so we can use the pre-built evaluation environment. So we're using GCNX's Homebrew 1. So, there was a lot of speculation about whether they would keep their homebrew thing up to date, homebrew cask up to date, but it looks like we're using GCNX's instead. Whiskey is a community-supported graphical interface, okay, and Codeweaver's crossover. So those are the three methods. Early in the macOS 15 beta period, there are pre-built tools still carrying version 1.1. So that's the current version. So if I open crossover now, 24.0.3, we're still using 1.1, which has been out for like months now, 6 months or something, 7 months. So Homebrew, we can use the free command interface here. We can do it through Whiskey by using the command here. Or with Crossover, replace Crossover's copies of D3D Metal. I think that they've copied and pasted this wrong because this contains the Whiskey path. Replace Crossover's copies of D3D Metal framework and libd3d shared dylib founder library support. So that should be Crossover. So that's a typo, I think. So, so for everyone that's tuning in now, this is Game Porting Toolkit 2.0. So the command line interface is still here. So this is still the way to do it. Doesn't really tell us how to do it for crossover. This is the only way of doing it. So let's just see how we do it. We go through. We move the libd3d shared. We can do this manually as well. So we could go to Go and then go to Library, and go to Application Support and crossover. Can't believe they left that typo in about Whiskey. That's going to be confusing to some people. And then you go to okay, it's not application support. We need to go to we need to modify the application itself. So crossover. I'm gonna make a copy. Okay, Assassin's Creed Odyssey is now playable apparently. Okay. Okay, so what we need to do here is we need to change this. I'm just going to call this GPTK 2.0. Okay, so I'm going to modify this. And we need to go into contents, shared support. Let's go back here. Contents, shared support, crossover, lib64, library 64, Apple GPTK, external, and then we have the libd3d shared dylib, and then these two files here. So these two files need to be replaced. Okay, so let's find the evaluation environment. Evaluation environment for Windows games. We have the lib external. So we're not changing one, we're just updating these two things. Interesting is that this was last updated in June, and then this was last updated in 24th of May. So this means that if I copy this into here and replace it, then that's basically doing this command. I wanted to do this because I wanted to make a different copy of crossover. So if I paste this in and replace them. Okay, so the other thing, when you make a change to a crossover, you want to also one thing I've learned is that you need to change the full disk access so that that has access to all your stuff. Okay, so this is going to be using my original bottle, so hopefully we're not going to have any dependency issues. Okay, so okay, let's see here. Okay, I didn't expect to be doing this right now because like this is a 3-hour stream now, and I did not expect to be testing out Game Porting Toolkit 2 already, because I would have thought it'd be more complicated to get this up and running, but apparently not. How many things? I've got a few things open, but not that much. It's just Safari, it's just a few windows. Okay, this doesn't need to be open. Valheim, you can go away. This README doesn't really tell me much. Okay. Let's close some of this crap. Oh, I want my notes back up. I need my notes. Oh, I don't need this anymore. Well, Mac is getting better Windows management in macOS Sequoia. I think Sequoia and Sonoma are too close in pronunciation, so that's not good. What's a good test? I'm just going to go on a pee break. I'll be right back. Need a drink. Okay, we have some issue here. Let's try a different game. If that's giving us error messages, what do we have that has? What do we have that has ray tracing? Does Detroit Become Human shouldn't work, especially because we don't have macOS Sequoia. So if that's where Game Porting Toolkit 2 is meant to be. Wonder what I can try. Yeah, it's not going to work. Yeah, Diablo 4 ray tracing no longer grayed out. Okay. This is meant to be an AVX2 game. So I'd be surprised if this works on macOS Sonoma. I haven't done any updates yet. Vulkan issue, VK. Okay, I'll try God of War. Yeah, I'm testing out Game Porting Toolkit too. Still saying 1.1, so that's not right. Am I right in saying that Game Porting 2.0 should show in the metal HUD as 2.0? That's not right. Something's gone wrong here. Let's see. What have I done wrong? I've opened up the wrong bloody. I've opened up the wrong bloody Game Porting crossover. Ugh, stupid me. Good thing the bottle is the same, so because I made two crossovers, and I need to make sure this one has the privacy settings turned on for full disk access. Oh yeah, I've turned it on already. It's good. Apparently, it does use Metal 3. I'm not sure yet. I don't have Uncharted 4. I need to get my Cyberpunk installation working correctly. I'm not sure what's wrong with it. There's something really wrong with the Red launcher. So this is the correct version. Can't see my files. It's the full disk access thing. The bottle needs to get access to the full disk access. It kind of happens when you make changes to any bottle. So I need to make sure that I toggle this off. Okay, let's just try to do this again. The CSD advanced graphics settings still freeze in GPTK2. I have no idea. But I suspect we're not going to get a proper indication of this without also doing an update to not even the latest version of macOS Sonoma. Should I be testing out the Sequoia beta? I mean, maybe. I do have a backup. It's not letting me see my game library. Should I have to avoid? Oh my god, maybe. Get a Thunderbolt NVMe external cheap and use it as a development build lister. I do have an NVMe drive that I could use to test. Oh, I can see my library here. Just took a while to get there. Just trying to see if I can get this working. I always have technical issues on streams. It's so annoying. I just want to play one game with Game Porting Toolkit. Okay, let's just try one game, okay? Because I'm having issues accessing my NAS. because my NAS is here, but it's not seeing any of the games. Like it should be all white here. Like it says all these games are. Wait, this is my E drive. Oh, that's my SD card. What I want is my. What I want to add is the my NAS. So I want to add a NAS drive here. So I've got my volumes. Why is that not coming up? It's not seeing my NAS. It does see my SD card. Normally it happens because it won't see the network properly because of permissions issue. So I've got this giant Steam library here, which is not working. Did I add the drive in one config? Let me see. It doesn't see it. Like I can't see the subfolders. I think I just have to re-download the game. Hopefully it won't affect the stream too much. I do want to try one with an actual. I do want to try one with an actual, like, with the benchmark tool. Like, how long is this going to take me? How do I add the bottle to Steam full access? Because I've got the bottles here. I really don't want to wait 40 minutes for this to run. Let's try Witcher 3. Does Witcher 3 have ray tracing? This is running my SD card as well. It's a NAS, so it's not just an SD card. This is running on my SD card, so this is really slow. UHS 2. This is already installed there. I could install Cyberpunk 2077. That would take me 40 minutes. What other ray tracing games are there? What other ray tracing games have I got? Could you try a game that requires? Actually, the thing is that I haven't updated to macOS Sequoia yet, so I can't just Hellblade. I don't have Hellblade. Elden Ring. Does Elden Ring have? I don't have nothing. Nothing is installed. I could try to run it through here. So I can access my used up all my bottles this weekend. I wonder if that'll work if it doesn't, if the bottle doesn't have permission to see my NAS. Go download Elden Ring. It's only 50 gigabytes. Metro. Why can't my crossover see it? Hi Brett. Game Porting Toolkit 2.0 is a big deal. I'm still formulating my thoughts on this, so I'm testing this out. 2.0 B1. Okay, let me move the chat window down a bit. Okay, let's see this working. So I remember having a lot of issues with this game before, just because it wouldn't run DirectX 12 very well. Ray tracing on. Hey Andrew, are you playing on Game Porting Toolkit 2.0? Yes, I am playing on Game Porting Toolkit 2.0 B1 beta. Okay, it is working. Okay. This is ray tracing turned on. I do have a lot of crap running in the background as well. Like the Steam downloading a game is not an insignificant amount of resources being consumed here. And all the other crap I have open as well, just close as much as I can.
With me, I'll be right here, nice and close, so I can speak without alerting the others. I can speak without alerting the others. Let me tell you about Senua.
Okay, the stutter.
Her story has already come to an end, but
Okay.
now...
I really can't tell if this is ray tracing on or off. If it's off, okay, you can tell because the performance becomes much worse, becomes much better when you turn it off. It's a bit stuttery at the moment. That's what's happening here.
What's happening?
So
It's breathing. It's breathing.
I haven't done a direct comparison yet, but it is very stuttery as well. I am running it through NAS, so it's not. I could be that. I don't know what's causing this. I never found this game run well through DirectX 12 mode. Okay, just see what's wrong here. Let me just turn. It's a bit stuttery in general. Okay,
no
so
more stories after this one.
can't really tell much because it's stuttering so much. There's something with my setup that's wrong here. But you can see, right? 100 frames per second with ray tracing turned off. And then you turn it on. Let's put on to low. So ray tracing turned on, frame rate's halved.
Oh, how rude of me. I never told you.
So this is,
You hear them too, right?
it's not shaded compilation, it's something else. There's something wrong with my setup. That's what it is. It's nothing to do with, yeah, check activity monitor.
Some are old.
There's a bottleneck somewhere. I think it's with something, because it's running from my NAS. It is a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet NAS.
I think the darkness changed them, just like it changed her.
Also, I'm only using, what's disk image? What's this? Disk images IOD. I'm also downloading something on Steam as well, because that's not, if I stop this.
You promised you came here.
What is that? Disk images IOD.
Look. Up ahead.
That's better.
You see it too.
If you've ever played Hellblade before, it's a beautiful game, and obviously Hellblade 2.
She's finally arrived.
I'm not streaming from this Mac. I'm streaming from a PC connected to this via HDMI, so it's not using any system resources. Okay, it stops stuttering because my Steam. When you download something through Steam, it uses huge amounts of resources. No, it's not. That's not it. My NAS is connected via 2.5 gigabit Ethernet. Yeah, the processes for like decrypting files and stuff through Steam is huge. Okay, well, ouch. It stopped stuttering. Okay, so we can do a proper test. As soon as the character lands on the beach, they can test this properly.
Here they lie, rotting in the fields and rivers of hell. But the dead don't always lie still here. This is not a place of rest.
I think what I'm going to have to do is upgrade my Mac overnight to the new developer beta. Then I can test all this stuff properly. Very exciting.
They're watching.
Up the ray tracing. Okay, let's do it. Up. I think what I'm going to do is basically when I get to the beach, on the character static, then I'll be able to actually test this. I'm not in low power mode.
They're watching.
Yeah.
They're watching
So
her.
personally, I mean, there's been a lot of tests like Linus Tech Tips. They did a whole test about whether you can actually see ray tracing.
Can you feel it?
What is she
It's
thinking?
progress for sure.
I can tell you.
It's really arguable whether you can actually tell whether a game is ray traced or not. I mean, the biggest thing you can see is that a game is performs much worse with using ray tracing. So if it's turned off,
The
then
darkness.
like the ray tracing benefit is very negligible. Like I can't really tell. The screen looks more grainy.
Stronger. Towering over her. You might try and ignore it. Turn away.
Yeah, you're gonna see a lot more on Reddit, to be honest. I mean, I draw a lot of inspiration from the Reddit users. So I expect in the next 12 hours, 24 hours, that a lot of people are going to be posting up games which didn't work before and now work. So it's good to see. Yeah, I could test out various games. I need to get Cyberpunk 2077 working again, and then test out. I think what I'll do is I'll test Cyberpunk 2077.
She's brave to go on this journey on her own. But it isn't bravery that drives her.
So we've got GPTK
Bravery only means
1.1
something to those afraid of
versus 2.0, and I also need to test it out on Mac Sequoia as well.
it's far,
Yeah, Reddit
far
is
deeper.
is a force unto itself. This intro is really long. I always remember this. I'll try to keep a save game of this. To me, this just looks more grainy. I don't know about you. I think, yeah, Cyberpunk is on my list to do. So it's a big deal.
What is she looking at?
I was really expecting not much to actually happen at this WWDC. I didn't expect them to release a new version of Game Porting Toolkit this quickly.
I hear her thoughts.
I did not expect to be playing a ray traced game on a Mac right now, because
No one will
I had this in my head, like a whole plan about to make a video about ray tracing and how, you know, we have the hardware.
There's no going back.
You can't do it.
Senua pushes away a world that conspired to cause so much suffering. There's nothing.
Sean Hammer, whoever, if you're testing out Cyberpunk 2077 and ray tracing is not grayed out, does that mean you're using an M3 chip? Because it's meant to be the M3 chip, which is meant to have hardware accelerated ray tracing. Okay, so we're now at a static scene. I can do some like direct comparisons with ray tracing on and off. So DirectX 12 at 1080p is 100 FPS. Feels like it should be higher than that. Is there like a graph? Is there like a cap? Sync off. Yeah, Sean, M3 Max. What frame rate are you getting with Cyberpunk, with or without ray tracing? Okay, so without ray tracing, it's about 900 FPS. We should turn this to an area with actual reflections. It should be like here and then looking. This is a nice graphical scene. Okay, 105 FPS. And then we go to graphics and then change the ray tracing to low. Is there a difference? Hard to say, but we're going from 105 to 35 FPS. So it's huge graphical performance differences. And then if we look at this and then change this to medium, let's just try all of them. 24, you know, for a $3,500 computer, getting this frame rate at 1080p is not great. And let's see here. Turn this onto high. Whoop. Obviously, I've got FSR turned off completely. 17 frames per second. Okay. The HUD is showing me mine is showing Game Porting Toolkit 2, 2.0 beta 1. Okay. Look up and down at the water. These are real reflections, right? Looks like real reflections. Can't tell. Yo, Andrew, I think you aren't running GPTK2. It says Rosetta 2 x86-64 version 2.0 B1. That's definitely a different version of Game Porting Toolkit. It's definitely the next one. Personally, I can't see a difference with the ray tracing, but that's just me, really. Ray tracing, a lot of people can't tell the difference, to be honest. Let's use a realistic scenario, and let's turn on some ray tracing, and we'll put this onto performance mode and see how it performs. Okay, the performance mode is too crappy looking. Quality mode. This should have 40 gigabytes of RAM, so it's a lot of RAM. Okay, so this is ray tracing on low with FSR turned on to quality mode. So as far as I can see, this is the first example of ray traced game that I've seen on a Mac so far. So far we haven't seen a ray traced game on a Mac. Let's see if this reflection is better. Let's just compare. So quality mode is an off.
Focus.
Okay, that's quite a big difference. If you look at the shadow on the tree, there's no like reflection there. But if we try ray tracing set to high with the MDFSR quality mode, you can see like much better reflections there. You can see the ripples. I don't know much about ray tracing. I just know that it's about light reflection simulation. Yeah, and performance is okay with AMD FSR. I've windowed full screen. It doesn't really matter if I've got windowed full screen. There's no real such thing as full screen on a Mac. It doesn't make a difference. So that's the reflection's much better. Ray trace reflection and global illumination, probably, yeah. So let's look. I'm just testing this again. Let's do this off and on again. So quality mode off. So getting 130 FPS with FSR quality mode. It probably does mean we can bring ray tracing to Minecraft, but Minecraft still uses OpenGL, right? So that's why. Game mode can work in non-App Store games. Just depends. I don't know why it doesn't work in Game Porting Toolkit. Thanks, Sean. Turn everything to low, ultra performance, RT on at low. Okay. Let's try with ray tracing turned on at high, and just you just want to look at the reflections in the water. You can see the reflection of the tree, the water rippling. You can see the water rippling there in and out. It's a pretty big deal. Okay, let's move in the water. Yeah, that's pretty. Even though we've got FSR turned on, there's a nice reflections. when we are looking at water, the frame rate's pretty good. We are seeing the reflections. That's it's very demanding for this game. There's a big difference. It's like mud when I'm looking at the mud, and it's fine when I'm looking at the sky. Yeah, I want to see Ray Trace Crisis as well. These reflections are very pretty. I'm impressed with this. You know what? Out of all the things that Apple were going to do, I really didn't think they were going to implement ray tracing in AVX2. Okay, let's try a different game. Then there's I can run through this bottle. I will do a test between game porting 1 and 2. I don't have any AVX2 games, do I? Let's try that Detroit. I can't get my NAS working, so I can't really see why this is not working correctly. M3 Mac W4 Ultra. Okay. Neonix ray tracing, you can turn it on. I have a lot of games, but I just can't get them to launch. Maybe I can try and launch them without running Steam. And I have Last of Us installed. I'm not on Sequoia Beta yet. It probably does run better on Sequoia, but I'm not going to be launching that right now. Got 40 gigabytes of RAM, so shouldn't be running into any kind of issues. Yeah, 48 gigabytes of RAM. Never really thought about that. Okay, good. I wonder if they fixed the FSR2 bug yet. Ray tracing can be turned on. Okay, let's try medium 1080p with ray tracing on. Let's turn this on to... Okay, so ray tracing overdrive. Let's try with medium and then turn ray tracing on. So what do we want? Let's use the ray tracing reset. Ray tracing low. Yeah, I wonder. It's of ray tracing is of very questionable performance benefit, to be honest. God, there's so much stuff to test. I do not relish my next week. It's just too much stuff to cover. Stuttery. Is the performance better? I think that I've got to really test this out myself. If anyone sees any AVX games that do work, I think I'm going to have to test this out on macOS Sequoia. It's nice to see that Game Porting Toolkit has all of this development work on it. I should have Persona 5. I'll have to install that and see. Yeah, ray tracing, it does not. We have ray tracing turned on in like the most minimal way. Let me just. If I just turn off the chat, I can see what's going on. So we've got ray tracing enabled, reflections are turned off, sun shadows are turned off, local shadows are turned on, path tracing no. So basically the minimal level of ray tracing is turned on. Low frame rates. Like, I wonder if let me just run a benchmark with ray tracing turned off on medium, then I'll turn it on again. I do not have Alan Wake 2. I think what I'm going to do is wait until people on Reddit figure out which games work best, because I don't really have time to figure every single thing out. So this is ray tracing turned off on medium settings. The Ghost of Tsushima, there is hope. Before there was no hope. Before AVX, useless. Even dreaming about it, you know, drinking your hopium, figure out how to cope with all of the lack of ability to play those games. I don't have Quake 2 RTX, but now that AVX2 is a possibility, maybe if I need to update to a macOS Sequoia, then this becomes a possibility. Do you write off the games that you buy on your taxes since they're for the channel? Yes. Games are tax-free for me. Also have a lot of deals with the companies like Games Planet. I get a lot of free games there. And all of the Sony games on PC are on Games Planet, so I'm going to go on a spending spree with the credit that they give me. Yeah. Yeah, AVX2 is the big barrier. So 76 FPS. Exactly the same settings with ray tracing turned on. We need to turn one of these on as well. So ray trace lighting. We'll just apply one ray tracing mode. And we'll run the same benchmark again. I will retest God of War 2018 at some point. It's interesting that medium with just those two ray tracing settings turned on, that frame rate's much worse. Is path tracing the same as ray tracing? I have no idea. If someone can tell me what the difference between ray tracing and path tracing is, then let me know. Is there a minimum amount of subscribers or views you need for Games Planet? No, the Games Planet deal was done with PC Gaming Wiki, which I created, so that they could have their store appear at the top of the availability table on all the games there on PC Gaming Wiki. So Oof doesn't like this for some reason. Stuttery. Not good. This didn't happen when I did the ray tracing set to low with using that preset, so that's quite interesting. I'm assuming that AVX2 also encompasses AVX, so I think this issue should work. I mean, I don't know. Well, I wonder if there's a difference. Okay, this is not good. This is not good. The thing should end now. I don't know why it's died so badly. I wonder what it's going to say. It's going to be the average frame rate, because the average frame rate's probably like 1 or 2. It says 11.59, but it's not. That's not what it really is. Let's look at this again. Chat. Yeah, so medium settings. I don't know why it shut the bed so badly. Okay, good. I don't think GTA 5 has proper ray tracing in it. Time to save up for the M4 Ultra. I think I will buy an M4 Ultra if it gets released. M3 Ultra, especially if it fixes the issues that we had before with Cyberpunk 2077 running on M1 or M2 Ultra. Can't be done with this. Okay, guys, I think I am done with the stream at the moment. I've done 4 hours now, and I am going to make a new video, and that's going to take me the rest of the night. So anyway, thank you very much for joining me on the stream today. I'm going to be watching out on the Apple Gaming Wiki Discord and also the Mac Gaming subreddit, especially if there are any. I know that people can have loads of requests for new games coming out on the, being made available to play on the Mac. I've got a lot of work to do. I'm going to need to upgrade my Mac to, well, I need to install macOS Sequoia, probably on a new drive, so I can switch between Sonoma and Sequoia easily. And I need to put this video together, and we need to do a lot of testing. So I'll be testing out Game Porting Toolkit 1.1 versus 2.0, and we need to see what other AVX games may or may not be working, and whether or not we actually need Sequoia to actually get it to work, because I think that is probably the case, according to Nat, who is our resident Apple nerd. Yes, I will test on the M1 Air when I have time, especially because a lot of people still are using it. But a lot of the testing is only really relevant can only really do on a higher end machine, because I want to know whether it works or not first on macOS. Then I'll dig down into low end machines. There's probably going to be huge benefits to running these Game Porting Toolkit 2 games on lower end machines. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. I will see you in the next one. Thank you very much. And also thank you very much for everyone who super chatted and supporting the channel. Good night. I will see you in the next one. Leave a comment if you have any requests. And if you figure out anything new, please make sure to make a comment, because that's really valuable. I can use that for other content in the future. All right, good night.